On New Year's Eve, my father-in-law called me Baron, flipped the New Year's dinner I had just made, and said I had no right to sit at the table. My husband kept giving me looks, wanting me to suck it up. Screw that. I'd had enough after 3 years. The Buddha jumps over the wall I made had just been served, still steaming and smelling amazing. My father-in-law, Liu Leeming, didn't even bother picking up food. He just jabbed his chopsticks straight into it. The ceramic bowl tipped over, and the broth, abalone, and sea cucumber spilled all over the table and splashed onto the floor. I froze for a second. My anger shot up, but I forced it down and waited to see what he was about to do. Reeking of alcohol, he yelled at me, "Who said you could sit here? A barren hen like you has no right to eat our family's New Year's dinner. Get out!" The whole table of relatives kept their heads down and pretended not to see a thing. I knew it. For the past 3 years, they had always looked down on me. I should have been used to it by now. My husband, Liu Yang, kicked me under the table and kept signaling for me to stay quiet. I stared at him for 3 seconds and said nothing. I'd put up with this for 3 years. I was done. I wasn't going to take it anymore. I stood up, took off my apron, folded it neatly onto the chair, grabbed my coat and car keys from the entryway, and walked out. Cold wind rushed down my neck. I buttoned up my coat and got into my car. It was quiet in there, way more comfortable than the Liu house. This was where I actually belonged. I took out my phone and called Attorney Zhang. As soon as he answered, I said, "In 3 days, pull all investments from the Liu Group." He replied, "Understood. I got the order. We'll process it on the next business day." Then I hung up. I opened my travel app and booked a first-class ticket home for 11 p.m. that night. I paid, got the confirmation, started the car, and merged into traffic. I had zero desire to look back. Liu Yang texted me, "What are you throwing a fit about now?" I didn't reply. A man like that wasn't worth a second of my time. I got on the highway to the airport. Liu Yang texted again, saying his dad was old and drunk and telling me not to take it personally and to just get a cab home myself. I put my phone on silent and tossed it onto the passenger seat. I had been married to Liu Yang for 3 years. In that house, I cooked, cleaned, did laundry, and handled everything like a full-time maid. Honestly, even a maid would have been treated better. Liu Yang always said his parents were traditional and told me to be patient. He said he loved me and that his family would come around. I believed him. Looking back now, I was stupid. I hid my family background, toned down everything I was capable of, and pretended to be just some ordinary woman with nothing but love. I thought sincerity would earn sincerity. Instead, all I got was 3 years of disrespect and humiliation at the New Year's dinner table. His dad called me a barren hen. I didn't cry. I just thought it was ridiculous, so ridiculous it made my chest hurt. It's not that I can't have children. I just refuse to have one with a family like that. When I got to the airport, I parked, grabbed my luggage, and went straight through security without stopping. My phone was full of missed calls, from Liu Yang and from my mother-in-law, but I ignored every one of them. Once I got into the lounge, I asked for a cup of hot water and tried to calm myself down. Then my phone buzzed again. It was a voice message from my mother-in-law, calling me an ungrateful freeloader. She said the Liu family fed me, clothed me, and that I had embarrassed them by running off during the holiday. She told me to get back there, kneel down and apologize, or never come back through the Liu family's door. I listened to the whole thing and turned my phone off. I was never stepping into that house again. The plane took off on time. I looked out the window at the city shrinking below me and felt nothing. All I could think was that it had been a mistake, one that needed to be erased from my life. 3 hours later, the plane landed. The southern air was warm and humid, nothing like the coldness of the Liu house. I didn't go home. I didn't want my parents to worry, so I booked a suite at the best hotel near the airport. After my shower, I turned my phone back on. My missed calls and messages had exploded. I didn't bother with any of that. I only opened Attorney Zhang's email. It said all investments in the Liu Group would be withdrawn, the process would begin in 3 days, and liquidation would be completed within 15 business days. Then I closed the email. I lay down on the bed, and it was the best sleep I had gotten in 3 years. No fighting, no contempt, just peace and quiet. The next day, Liu Yang called again. I answered, and the second he opened his mouth, he started raging, asking if I was trying to disappear and saying I was making the family lose face. I said, "Your dad told me to get out, I'm just following orders." He choked on his words for a second. A few moments later, his tone softened. He said his dad was just angry and that I should be more understanding as the younger one. I let out a cold laugh. I've been unhappy for 3 years. Why should I keep putting up with this now? He softened even more, trying to coax me, asking where I was and saying he'd drive over to pick me up. I said, "No need. We have nothing left to talk about." He immediately got defensive and asked what I meant. Then he said the company was at a critical stage and told me not to make things worse. He said a project payment was being held up. They were 3 million short, and asked me to borrow money from my parents to help them get through it, promising they'd pay it back after the new year. I thought it was pathetic. Even now, he still thought I was just some ordinary woman who needed her parents to bail her out. He still thought I'd obey him like I used to. What he didn't know was that the reason their company project even got off the ground was because I funded it, and the reason the final payment got frozen was because I arranged it. I said nothing and hung up. Then I blocked his number and my mother-in-law's too. I got up, pulled back the curtains, and the sunlight was gorgeous. It felt warm and bright. I ordered hotel breakfast, poured myself a glass of champagne, and sipped it slowly. Then I looked at Attorney Zhang's email again and thought about the Liu Group. 3 years ago, the Liu Group was on the verge of collapse. Their cash flow was broken. Under the name of an overseas investment fund, I put in 50 million, and later, I poured in nearly another 100 million. That was the only reason the company stayed afloat and could keep up the illusion of success. Everyone in the Liu family, including Liu Yang, only knew the company had some major backer. They had no idea that backer was me, the daughter-in-law they insulted and looked down on whenever they pleased. Now, I was taking back everything that belonged to me, with interest. The waterproof TV in the bathroom was on, playing a financial news channel. It said the Liu Group's stock had ticked up slightly. I smiled. This was just the calm before the storm. Things were about to change fast. For the past 3 years, my whole world had revolved around the Liu family. I wanted to build a real life with them, but all they ever wanted was to bully me and look down on me. Now I was going to live for myself and stop wasting even one more ounce of energy on them. Then the doorbell rang. The hotel manager and a server walked in with a food cart. This hotel happened to be part of my family's group. The manager said the owner had specially prepared hometown dishes for me. I said, "Don't tell anyone I'm here. That includes my parents." On the cart were steamed star grouper, white-cut chicken, and a bowl of Buddha jumps over the wall. I didn't touch that dish. I just stared at it. The memory of yesterday's overturned soup, my father-in-law's furious face, and Liu Yang's cowardice slowly blurred in my mind until it all faded. I never wanted to think about it again. I took a bite of the chicken. It tasted incredible. It tasted like home. It tasted like freedom. My phone buzzed again. A text came in from an unknown number. It was Liu Yang's cousin, Liu Lei. He said his brother was losing his mind, asked me not to stay mad, and told me to come home before things got worse. I found it ironic. Yesterday, when they were humiliating me, nobody treated me like family. Now that there was trouble, suddenly they remembered I existed. I blocked that number too. I stood by the window and looked out at the sea. Fishing lights flickered in the distance. I could already imagine Liu Liming sobering up and still throwing a fit, Liu Yang complaining to his friends about how unreasonable I was, and my mother-in-law trash-talking me in the family group chat. They all thought this was just some normal family argument and that I'd cool off and come back in a few days. They had no idea the Liu group was finished. Their whole sky was about to come crashing down. I pulled the curtains shut, turned off the lights, and the room went dark. Soon, the Liu group would be just like this room, dark with no way out. They brought this on themselves. On the first business day after the holiday, at 9 in the morning, Attorney Zhang called and said the withdrawal of funds had already begun. The first 30 million had already been moved out. The Liu Group's finance director freaked out, thinking it was a system error, but the bank told him it was a legal order from Global Ventures. At the time I was on the treadmill, listening to Attorney Zhang, I felt nothing. I just asked a few questions about the bank's reaction and told him to stick to the plan. Then I hung up. I stepped off the treadmill, grabbed a towel, and wiped the sweat from my face. The sunlight outside was perfect. A new day. A new beginning. The Liu Group's nightmare had only just begun, and my life was finally turning to a new chapter. No more holding back. No more backing down. Starting today, I live for myself. This time, I'm taking back everything.